This week, it's literally about to go down, okay? Dineo Ranaka has decided to challenge Unandi. As we all know, Unandi has been trending for the past few days following her podcast on the Altito podcast, where she was basically arguing that, society has become increasingly transactional and harsh in expectations, especially when it comes to black men, or rather, let me say, South African men, okay? And she stated that South African men get judged a lot based on their financial standing and financial output without acknowledging that black men go through so much, okay? And she did also suggest that, guys, let's just give South African men grace so that we can actually allow room for vulnerability and healing. So that's just the summary of what Unandi said on the Altito podcast. And there has been so much debate going on online about this topic, and Dineo Ranaka has actually decided to hop in. And the very first thing she said when she was arguing against Nandi's point of views, she said, "I'm expecting insult for this one. It's okay though. Black men aren't what happened to them. They are what they choose to be." And she says, "No, I'm really disturbed by what Nandi said, how she said it, and to whom she was saying it, and the climate in which we live, and how what she said will be understood and misconstrued by the very same men she's campaigning empathy for. Not all softness is wisdom. It takes for you to analyze how these men we must have empathy for spend their 24 hours. Analyze the thing they say, the things they do, especially the things they do, their intentions, how they move, the empathy they have for themselves or the lack thereof. Are they invested in the future of the black nation, or are they invested in themselves? Micro and macro scale. Just analyze them. Analyze the content they consume, analyze their heart posture, analyze their discipline and or the lack thereof. Just analyze them. Now, analyze their history, black history. Look what their nation has been put through. Tell me if your findings of how they live and what they prioritize match the energy required to change the trajectory. Guys, I can't even pronounce it correctly. Guys, to change the trajectory. Sana, I can't, of your entire bloodline, okay? She goes on to say, empathy is not just a thing you toy with the man. The very thing you give will be used to torture you. Analyze. Now, I'm not saying be without empathy, but I'm saying don't be careless with it. She says, guard your heart because empathy without truth causes more harm. We can't just willingly nilly feel sorry and not hold accountable. And I get what she was trying to say, but Sisi, slow down on throwing a pity party for black men who aren't fighting for the economic emancipation of the black nation at the same level of the empathy required to support them. Guys, Namasko Dineo Sana. She goes on to say, over 30 years, we've given empathy to our black leaders in governance, okay? Over 30 years of empathy and hope. And what are the results? The Madlanga Commission, high violent crimes, unstable economy, high taxes, etc. But champagne was popped, luxury lives were built, slay queens' hair was shipped, her rent was paid, and kids died in toilet pits. Nandi, Nandi, my sister. Okay, this is specifically directed at Unandi. She says, Nandi, we must have a conversation about this empathy. I'm interested to unpack your entire viewpoint. I want to understand you, my sister. I am struggling not because of my personal experiences, but due to my observations of how the black man has been moving at a micro and macro scale. Okay, this is not about how we relate romantically on a personal level with men and how we all know the basics to be a patient, supportive partner, respectful, gentle, tender hearted, and loving, blah, 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 making poor choices and not having had a good experience with men. She says, none of this is about any of that. So, this is most definitely not personal. This is structural. Every generation of women has Nandis in it. Hey, my tongue. Now, this is not a bad thing about every generation of women has Nandis in it, but it is not the Nandis that shake up change. It's the Winnie Mandelas. And I believe this is a topic for the Winnie Mandelas in today's climate of men. In the season of life, may all the soft parenting women help us fight from the back, please. Your turn will come to lead with softness. Right now, we need the paramedics to aggressively resuscitate our society. We need the tough love brigade of women to enter the chat. I feel so sad that this is the card that black men have been dealt. But black men have to get up and put up a different kind of fight collectively. Collective discipline in spirit and in flesh from all black men is all the empathy they need. Okay, as per my understanding of the spiritual design of a woman's role in a man's life, and I romanticize the understanding, by the way. I think it is so beautiful. It becomes exhausting to help people that are not putting in effort to help themselves. And I am spiritually obligated to guard my heart. Okay? That is what Dineo Ranaka is saying. Yo sana ndiyajuluka with the cosmetic words. Guys, I don't even have a capacity to be challenging Dineo Ranaka. You all know how she is. But I'm just going to take one person who tried to challenge what she is saying to Unandi, and this person says, I respectfully disagree. As a South African woman myself, I really understood what Unandi was trying to say. Our men are carrying very real pressures, unemployment, financial expectations, emotional expectations, family responsibilities, and the weight of a history they didn't create but still have to survive in. And so this person is saying empathy doesn't mean ignoring bad behavior or even lowering our standards. It simply means recognizing the full human being behind the mistakes and struggles. We can hold men accountable and still extend grace at the same time. The two don't cancel each other out. I don't think her message was about asking women to tolerate nonsense. I heard it as a call for balance and understanding, especially in a country where black men and women are already so divided by pain, trauma, and daily survival. If we only analyze behavior without also considering context, we end up speaking at each other instead of healing with each other, okay? She says grace is not weakness, it's emotional intelligence, and empathy does not make us foolish. It makes us wiser in how we love and how we build. I believe Unandi was reminding us that rebuilding relationships between South African men and women will require both accountability and compassion. That message to me is necessary and deeply important, okay? To which Udinewo responded and said, a very important message indeed. However, equally imperative in this climate of how we relate. It is equally important to pair the message with discernment. Okay, guys. And then they just started debating, and the debate went on and on. Okay. So I'll just have to hear from you guys. what your thoughts are on this one down on the comments. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys shortly. Bye, guys.